So however long, not very long ago, a few days ago, Natalie had this crazy, amazing idea, which is kind of such a relief to all of us, isn't it, that we can actually do something. So, I mean, how did you hear about it and what did you think? Maybe, Mike, do you want to go first, when you first heard of Natalie's idea?
Yeah, sure. I'm trying to remember now whether I saw it on Twitter or whether she got in touch direct. And whichever route, I think possibly on Twitter, and replied, say, yeah, I'd be on for doing something and getting involved. And whether that's a talk or volunteering time, again, it's, as you say, it's a contribution. It's something that we can do concretely here and now.
Yeah. How about you, John?
Well, actually, on the same Sunday, when Natalie posted her tweet about her crazy idea, I had posted something on Facebook, like, do we know genealogists in Ukraine? Do we know also genealogists in Russia? Because we're focusing on Ukraine all the time, and we all understand why. But at the same time, we also know that there are people in Russia who do not agree with these things, and they also suffer. So that was my post, like, do we know people and how are they? Are they safe? And at the same time, Natalie came up with her idea, and I saw on Twitter that she was looking for people attending, planning, whatever, speaking. And I was like, okay, let me do something.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a good point, John, because with genealogy, then we're just used to having this kind of that feeling of international connections. And how about you, Joe? I think Natalie said that she messaged you and you took more than 5 minutes to reply to her. Yeah?
Yeah, it was about 20 minutes, actually. Yeah, I got a string of messages basically outlining the idea, which is starting to come together nicely, but outlining the idea, and then at the end, is this crazy? And before I'd had a chance to reply and say, yes, it's completely crazy, she'd gone ahead and asked a load of other people. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, so we know what Natalie's idea is, but Natalie, do you want to tell us what is your idea and how did you have your idea?
Yeah, so my idea was that we would have a 24-hour speakathon event, absolutely packed with amazing genealogists and historians. And the original idea was that we'd sell tickets to this, and that those tickets would raise money for Ukraine. And that's now evolved. So we're now doing the talks live across social media, and more kind of in the vein of Red Nose Day and Children in Need and those kind of events. Throughout the speaking, we'll be asking people to donate to a Just Giving page, which is set up so that all funds go to the DEC/Red Cross Ukrainian Humanitarian Fund, which is a bit of a mouthful. So yeah, so that's kind of what it's evolved to, this 24-hour live event with people being able to donate what they can afford, which I think is much more inclusive.
That's a really good idea. And so you guys got involved, and clearly there are more people than you who have. So is one of you able to give us a little flavour of what we can look forward to on the programme, like some of the speakers who stepped up to offer their time?
I think if you don't mind, I think, John, it would be great if you could tell us, because I know that I've talked quite a lot about the UK audience, and I know Mike and Joe are also based in the UK, but John's been a fantastic help, kind of, flying the flag for Europe and beyond, really. So,
well, I think that is one of the things that we said already from the very beginning, that we want to be inclusive, which also means that we want speakers from all over the world. We want an audience from all over the world. Which means that we also have to look at timetables, because times in Sydney are different than in New York, and everything in between. So what we have done for the last few days is, first we collected a lot of names, and I was very impressed by the fact that within 1-2 days we had more than 200 people offering to speak, all willing to donate their precious time for an event like this, which is it's overwhelming, and it's heartwarming to see that people want to do this. But then there is the second thing, is who is going to speak and where are they from, and when do we schedule them? So I think we are now, well, we're doing a good job, and Natalie has been trying to fit all those names in one big schedule. So we do have historians and genealogists from Australia, from Europe, countries in Europe, many because of Natalie, Joe, Mike, and all the others who are based in the UK. Of course, a lot of people from the UK are there as well. But we also have some good names from the United States, because we want to attract a broad audience.
And so that's the kind of the program side of it, but then behind the scenes there must be an awful lot of work which all of you are putting in on top of your kind of your daily existing busy lives. So what sort of things are you having to do behind the scenes to pull this together, particularly in such a short time frame? I mean, all the social media, or what's it like? What are you doing? Mike, do you want to go?
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
So I always, when something like this is a bit of a who's going to jump first. Yeah, no, it has been a case of a certain amount of organisation in terms of kind of committee work, again, which Natalie has been leading on and corralling us on. And then once we kind of got delegated tasks, it's been things like thinking about sorting out the speaker agreements to make sure it's, you know, it's all legit and so on, and that the speakers know what they're signing up for and what they're doing. And so on. And John's mentioned, you know, think about timetabling the time zones. So there's a practical liaison like that. And then trying to work with the social media as well to try and make sure people know about it and so on. So, you know, it's, I think of kind of organising any event is complex, but then something like this with the different time zones, the different audiences, as the numbers of people involved as well. And you know, as others have said, the goodwill that's been displayed is really heartening, really amazing, I think, and that's one of the key things to take from this. A lot of people do feel very involved in this, and that's brilliant.
I think you're right, but we feel really relieved to be able to do something. Welcome, Anna. Because you're all so busy and you're all having to snatch moments here and there, we just kind of kicked off with our little interview. So welcome, and you haven't missed out. So we're just catching up, really finding out kind of what you've all been planning so far and what you've all been doing. And I don't know, how are you finding it, fitting it round what you're doing, fitting in the your part in the organisation?
Oh, I think we're having some Zoom connection issues today.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that I want to add to what Mike just said is sometimes you run into very small things that have a big impact. For example, when we were doing the timetables, we came to the conclusion that, for example, in Europe, we're changing times in exactly that weekend. But they don't do that in Australia, and they don't do that in the United States. So you have to keep in mind the differences in hours in all the zones, and especially that you lose 1 hour because we are going 1 hour further in time during that night. All kinds of those little things that you just run in.
So you guys are all super busy. So what can we all do between now and then? Like Joe, what can we do to help support you? Like what, you know, the rest of us, what can we do to try and help the organisation?
Well, I think the big thing is that we're sort of pulling together speakers at the moment and volunteers to help on the day and in the lead up, but particularly we need people to know about it, I think seems to be the really big thing now. So I've been helping get out the press release to different organisations. I think everybody who can share things on social media, and for example, like what we're doing here, interviews in any magazines, you know, tell your friends and neighbours, that kind of thing. I think that's the really important thing now, is to make sure that people, especially people outside of the historical community, I suppose, are aware of it, so that ordinary people who may not read these magazines, may not follow our social media accounts, that kind of thing, that they're aware of it, and that the general public are aware that this is a big event. So that's what we want now, to get as many people listening as possible. I think the fantastic historians that have put themselves forward to speak deserve that. And of course, the bigger the audience, the more money that we can raise for the people of Ukraine. So that's the really important thing, I think, everyone.
So sharing, keep on getting the word out, sharing it, just telling people, as you say, telling your friends and neighbours, because there are such good speakers that you don't have to be kind of, you know, dyed-in-the-wool genealogist or historian to enjoy it. You'll be able to dip in and enjoy it anyway. And I guess, Natalie, like the main point of this is to raise money. So how can people go about donating to it?
So on the day, we're going to have a big QR code up on screen at all times that people can scan to go straight to our Just Giving page. But there'll also be like a ticker tape with the website address, and there'll also be the website address posted inside the comments. So it'll be as simple as clicking a link, going over to the Just Giving page and donating. But I just wanted to add, whilst Anna can maybe hear us, that Anna has been doing some fantastic work with a kind of sub-team where we've been trying to create some videos that we can play in between speakers that remind them of the plight of the Ukrainian people, but also Ukrainians' heritage. that's at risk, and I know that Anna has kind of headed up that team. So as well as us and other people that have been involved, there's also been like sub teams that I haven't even necessarily met that other people have been trying to, you know, organise on my behalf. So I'm really, really grateful.
Thank you. And so also the main thing, so let's go forward. It's noon on Saturday, the 26th of March. You're kicking off your amazing event. So how can we find it? Where do we go to watch it?
Okay, so there'll be a YouTube channel and the link for that will be posted on our website shortly, which our website is www.history4, and that's the word for Ukraine.co. So that's www.history4Ukraine.co. So people will be able to go there and find the YouTube link, and they'll also be able to follow on our Twitter account, which is History4 with the digit 4 Ukraine, and they can actually watch the event on Twitter if they want to, but I'd say you'll probably get the best experience on YouTube.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thank you so much, all of you, for sparing your time. Good luck with all of your plans over the next few days, and we're all looking forward to it. And yeah, you're doing us proud, so we'll really try and help you.